Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Full Court Press Basketball Debate, December 29th edition. Chris Guyette here with Yvonne Juno. It has been 17 days since we've done this, way too long. Sorry about missing out with the holidays. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to all of you out there. A lot to talk about. Couple of trades that happened over the Christmas break. A lot of stuff to talk about, so let's get to it. Last night, Yvonne, the Cleveland Cavaliers were at home playing the Detroit Pistons, who came in with 5 wins overall.
Yep.
And last night, Cleveland was winning by 11 after the first quarter and lost by 23. LeBron James, after the blowout loss, was said as, quote, "We're not a very good team." Yvonne Juno, before we talk about the game in itself, your thoughts on the quote.
This was said just as part of an interview process.
Press conference.
A press conference with him sitting at the table. This was not a courtside quote.
No. Press conference. Your thoughts, before we talk about the game, your thoughts on the quote.
I don't understand in what context he made such a quote. Why would he make such a quote?
That's what I'm asking you. Your thoughts on the quote.
I think it's terrible. I think it's terrible that he left Miami to go home, supposedly to go and make them a winning team, and now he comes up with a statement like that. What do you think that's going to do to morale?
Let's not get ahead of ourselves here, okay? Cleveland is a winning team, okay? They're 18-12. Is that the record that we were expecting?
No.
Not most people.
No.
I said from the very beginning that they were going to be very mediocre this season because of the fact that you're trying to put too much star power together in too short of a time with a first-year head coach. Okay? My thoughts on this quote, that we're not a very good team, my thoughts are that I love it. I love it for many reasons. Number one, I love it because of the source it's coming from. LeBron James is saying this.
Oh, if anybody else had said this besides LeBron, it would be so much worse.
I love this
if
because...
If anybody's going to say it, it needed to come from him.
Well, there you go. And number two, the world was listening. Because this is a 23-point loss to a team that you should have beaten by 30. Okay? At home, with your home crowd, you get booed off of your own home crowd. Off of your own court. Your own crowd boos you off the court. You better take it up with yourself and say, oh my God, we're not a very good team. Okay? And I love it, number three, and the most important reason, because it's true. He is speaking the truth. Cleveland, right now, I'm sorry, is not a very good team. They are very middle of the road. They are the 5th seed in the Eastern Conference. They are very middle of the road, very middle of the path. It's true.
Okay. And for any other team to be the 5th seed would be quite an accomplishment. The fact is, it's because it's LeBron James's team and because of all the hype and the publicity and all of the big controversy about him leaving Miami and going back to Cleveland and all that. It was automatically assumed, which is a very big misnomer and very big misconception, that the minute that he rejoined the team, that they would be nothing but number one from the very get-go. And that was wrong to begin with. That was wrong to begin with.
Wasn't misconceived by me. That's all I'm going to say.
The general public.
What did I say 3 debates ago? Everybody bought into the hype.
Mm-hmm.
And 90% of them didn't even realize they did. You were one of them.
Yeah.
You didn't even realize you did. Until I made you face reality.
Sorry.
Until I gave you a reality check. And you were like, oh crap, I did buy into this.
Yeah.
Same thing here. He is speaking the truth.
Sometimes the truth is a very...
The truth hurts.
Yeah. Sometimes the truth... And you know the thing about it is, if you look at it from the other flip side, the truth sometimes coming from the right person in this particular set of circumstances, LeBron, because like I said, if anybody else would have said this, it would be, oh my God, they're running down LeBron's team, and it would be so horrible and all this. But if he himself says it, this may do them a lot of good. It depends on how the rest of the team feels about him coming out with this statement.
You want a reality check? Here's the ultimate reality check. Cleveland is 5th in the East right now. They are 4.5 games away from being out of the playoffs.
Oh, wow.
If that is not a reality check to Cleveland Cavaliers fans, to Cleveland Cavaliers players, and to Cleveland Cavaliers head coaches and front office members alike, there is an issue. There is an inner issue. Now, Yvonne, your thoughts on Cleveland's blowout loss?
Well, the thing about it is, they didn't just lose by a couple of points.
Lost by 23.
Right. That's a hell of a loss.
To Detroit.
That is a big loss. So, if this doesn't put things into perspective, I don't know what will. Chris, what do you think is wrong?
What do I think is wrong?
Yeah, what do they need to work on? What's going on?
They need to work on a little bit of everything. But last night, well, Detroit came in with 6 wins total. Total!
I know.
Okay? 3-11 in conference play. Detroit.
Okay.
3-11. Detroit.
How many games behind are they?
They are 7-23.
Okay.
16.5 games behind number 1. Okay? Detroit.
Wow.
Wait. Detroit set a franchise record last night.
In what respect?
This team hit 17 three-pointers last night. Let that sink in.
In that one game?
Detroit hit 17 three-pointers.
I didn't watch all of the game. Where were we?
That is a franchise record. And let me put this into perspective for you people. This is the same Detroit Pistons franchise that in the early to mid-90s had Isaiah Thomas, Joe Dumars, Bill Laimbeer, Rasheed Wallace, Chauncey Billups, Rip Hamilton. And this Detroit team, coming in at 6-23, puts this on the Cleveland Cavaliers on the road. My thoughts on the loss?
Oh my God, I just realized that too. They weren't even at home.
My thoughts on the loss are very simple.
That's a hell of a win for them.
It's back to the drawing board.
That's a hell of a win for Detroit.
It is back to the drawing board for the Cleveland Cavaliers.
That's a big win for Detroit.
And let me just point out, when in the press conference, because I want to hear what you have to say about this. In the press conference, LeBron was asked not only about his team, but he was asked about his first-year head coach, David Blatt. Some really ballsy reporter asked him, "Is this a learning experience not only for you but for your head coach as well?" And LeBron was, quote, saying, "Don't go there." So that tells me right there that if...
No, that was very non-committal. I respect him for that.
But that tells me right there, okay, but you're about to prove my point.
I know.
As a player, you are supposed to be 110% committed to your head coach.
Absolutely, you should be behind him no matter what.
That was very nonchalant, very 50%.
No, it's not what he said, it's what he didn't say.
Right.
Right. He inasmuch as said
That David Blatt's not really the head coach of this team.
Right.
Sorry. I
Right.
said that
From
since
day
the preseason.
one. Yeah. Yeah. We both did.
Come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Couple of big moves happened over the past week and a half, 2 weeks. Not the first
Are we
one.
finished talking about LeBron?
Oh, I'm done talking about that.
Oh, well, I have one more question before we round it off.
Sure.
How do you think Blatt's going to feel about his non-committal answer?
It doesn't matter how David Blatt feels about that
It
answer.
absolutely
No, it
does
doesn't,
matter.
because David Blatt
LeBron
can't do
is the
anything
face
about
of
it.
the team now.
That's right. David Blatt is not. They will get rid of David Blatt before they will get rid of LeBron James. So
I
it
agree.
doesn't matter
I
how
agree.
David Blatt feels.
Okay, in the locker room after that, or at practice
If David
today.
Blatt doesn't lead this team in a game, what makes you think he leads them in a locker room? What makes you think he leads them in practice?
Okay, but that's got a ripple effect. That's going to roll over onto the morale and in everybody's mindset that's on the team.
They're in shambles.
You
But
know what?
I
I respect LeBron for saying, let's don't go there.
What I don't respect, and which was very, very non-characteristic of LeBron James last night in this press conference, saying we're not a very good team. LeBron himself had 7 turnovers in this game. We're not a very good team does not sound like you're taking any personal responsibility.
Well, if he said we're not, yeah.
Okay, I respect
He's
the
a
fact
part
that,
of it.
hey, we're not a very good team. Great. But I need you to take personal responsibility because your team had 11 turnovers last night. You had 7 of them.
7 out of the 11?
7 out of the 11.
No,
Come on.
no.
Come on. Josh Smith, well, speaking of Detroit, while we're on the topic of Detroit, Josh Smith was released by Detroit and signed with Houston. Now, Yvonne, the first question. How does this trade help Houston?
Oh my gosh. When they gel and they get it together, and I don't think it's going to take long at all, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Okay.
They're going to be a powerhouse team.
This is about to get very analytical because it deserves to be analytical. Look at the Houston Rockets starting lineup before Josh Smith.
Uh-huh.
Patrick Beverly, James Harden, who, by the way, is the MVP. I'm sorry. I love Anthony Davis. I love Russell Westbrook. I like what Marc Gasol's doing in Memphis. No one is playing like James Harden is right now. Okay?
He could not do any more if he
This
tried.
coming from the ultimate New Orleans Pelicans fan. Okay? Trevor Ariza. Dwight Howard in the middle. And at your 4, you had a guy named Kostas Papanikolaou. Huh?
Right. Who?
And this is not to say that Papanikolaou is not a good player,
No,
because he is.
but my God.
Now,
You put Josh Smith in that spot?
Patrick Beverly, the ultimate point guard defender. He, Russell Westbrook, and Rajon Rondo, and Chris Paul are the top 4 perimeter defenders in the game of basketball. Okay? Outside of LeBron James, because LeBron's not a point guard. James Harden, MVP candidate, elite scorer, leads the league in scoring. Okay? And has improved defensively. Trevor Ariza, a knockdown, 3-point shooter that can stretch the floor and guard the 3 and the 4. Dwight Howard, we know all about Dwight Howard.
Yeah.
And now you put Josh Smith at the 4, which even though he is 6'9", the 4 is his natural position. That's what he played in Atlanta in the glory years. Okay? Josh Smith is a hybrid. Josh Smith can play the 3. Josh Smith can play the 4. My God, at 6'9", 230-something pounds, the man's averaging 2 blocks and 2 steals a game.
Right.
So he's an excellent defender, especially inside. Okay? Him, because we know Dwight Howard is not a go-to scorer. Okay? Dwight Howard is not a go-to scorer. Dwight Howard is used for his defense.
Right.
He can score.
Yeah.
But that is not his forte.
Right.
That is Josh Smith.
He's there to guard the goal.
That is Josh Smith's forte. Josh Smith is an excellent offensive player. He doesn't shoot at a very high percentage, but neither does Kobe.
Right.
Okay? Josh Smith helps Houston because it gives them the ability to stretch the floor. It gives them the Twin Tower effect.
Right.
It's an all-around help.
He is the piece of the puzzle that was missing.
He makes up for them letting Chandler Parsons go.
Right. Right.
And in my opinion, improves beyond Chandler Parsons.
I think so too.
Because now you have 5 guys, plus a pretty decent bench with Jason Terry and
Yeah,
those
they
boys.
have a good bench.
With Jason Terry and
Not the
Terrence
best,
Jones and those
but they
boys,
have a good bench.
they will be a threat. Now, does this trade make Houston a title favorite? Why or why not? And give this some thought.
I think so. I think so. I think we will know within the next 2 to 3 games. The proof is in the pudding. If they get out there and they work together as a team and they feed off of each other's strengths, then absolutely. If nobody goes out there and tries to showboat, how do you think it's going to be to coach this team?
Okay. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. I'm gonna start with that. Okay. Does this trade make Houston a title favorite?
It could.
The reality is no.
Why?
Because we have to keep in mind of the division Houston plays in.
Okay.
And as good as Houston has been all year long, they're the 4 seed in the West right now. With a record of 21-8. This team is 4th in the West.
Okay. What's your
It's
point?
very deep. You've got to go through Golden State. You've got to go through Portland. You've got to go through Memphis. And Dallas is right on your tail by a half game.
Okay, but
Okay.
we haven't seen or had the opportunity yet to see what they can accomplish now that Josh Smith has
Yes,
been
we have.
added.
They beat Memphis in overtime, which we'll
Okay.
talk about after we talk about the Rondo deal. And last night they lost to San Antonio.
We're talking San Antonio.
That's my point. You're proving my point. The division they play in, San Antonio, New Orleans, Memphis, Dallas, and Houston, all teams with winning records.
Yes.
Every single one of them
Yeah.
has a winning record.
So in other words, you think it's too late in the season?
No, it's too early to tell. Because with a record of 21-8, you are 4th in the West. If you are 21-8 and you're in the East, you're 2nd.
Right. That's how good the West is.
It's the conference, it's the
Absolutely.
division.
Yeah.
If you rephrase the question and you say, does this make Houston a title contender? Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, well, that's what I meant.
Does it make them a title favorite? Not yet.
No. Okay.
But
All right,
it does
if you
make
change
them.
that one word.
I'm gonna use
Okay.
a WWE term here. It makes them, in my opinion, the number 1 contender.
Okay.
That's how good I believe this Houston team will become.
Okay,
with
well,
this
that's
trade.
what I meant. But the proof is in the pudding, and
Oh,
we're
yeah.
going to have to wait and see.
Right.
Was that first game just a fluke
Well, they
win?
lost the second one
Right.
to San Antonio.
That's my point. But you can't judge based on San Antonio because we beat San Antonio. And then San Antonio turned around, and I mean, we have to wait and see for a couple of more games. Now, let me ask you a question, Chris. If Josh had been with them since the beginning of the season, how different do you think
21
things
and
would
8.
be by
That's
now?
it's 29 games. So
Right,
for the sake,
without Josh.
wait, for the sake of no, they had 27 games without Josh.
Okay.
So 27 games. 27 games to start the season.
In such a strong division.
So in other words, what would their record be right now if they had Smith from the beginning?
From the very beginning.
They'd have at least 25 to 28 wins right now. At least. At least.
You think it would have only pushed them up like 2 or 3 games?
Right now, yeah.
Because that division is so strong.
Right.
Okay.
But this is one of the 5 teams to beat the Golden State Warriors this season.
Yeah.
Only 5 teams have beaten the Golden State Warriors this season. Houston is one of them. And they did it
Without Josh Smith. Yeah. Talk to me about the coaching now that Josh has joined the team.
This is Kevin McHale's heaven. And here's why. Kevin McHale played for the Boston Celtics.
Okay.
His counterpart was Larry Bird. 2 big guys. Now, granted, Bird played on the perimeter. Don't matter. Bird could go inside if he wanted to. You watch clips, Bird could go inside. Okay, this is Kevin McHale's dream. Kevin McHale himself played power forward. The same position Josh Smith plays.
Right.
In pretty much the exact same way.
Right.
McHale could stretch the floor. McHale had a nice 18 to 20 foot jump shot. If you go back and watch 1980s, McHale had a nice jump shot. McHale had a hook shot. McHale had a fadeaway. McHale was a good defender. He and Josh Smith is faster, quicker because it's a new era. Bodies are built differently.
And the rules are different.
It's different pace. Smith is faster. Smith is a little bit stronger. He's a little bit more
athletic.
athletic.
And the rules are so different.
But this is Kevin McHale's heaven.
Okay.
This is Kevin McHale's heaven. It must be awesome. Because, and here's the proof. You want to talk about the proof is in the pudding. Kevin McHale made this move happen. He said, go get Josh Smith. Was it 17 minutes after Josh Smith was signed? Kevin McHale got a contract extension for 3 more years with Houston. 17 minutes after Smith was signed, Kevin McHale's extension goes 3 years.
For himself?
As Houston head coach. You want to talk about the proofs in the pudding?
Well, he sees a ring in the future.
There you go. So do I.
Yeah, he sees a ring in the
So do I.
Yeah. How do you think Josh Smith feels about this move?
It's his heaven. This is what he did in Atlanta. In Atlanta, you had a superstar scorer by the name of Joe Johnson. Does that ring any bells?
Yeah.
Okay. Joe Johnson, as good as he is in Brooklyn, he made his name in Atlanta. He was a 6-time All-Star with the Atlanta Hawks. Okay? Josh Smith was on that team with Joe Johnson. How the hell they didn't win a ring, I don't know. Okay? Joe Johnson's place in Houston is taken up by whom? James Harden. James Harden is a futuristic scorer.
Yes.
Out of this world.
Yes.
Okay? And is improving defensively. Joe Johnson was a good defender. And in Atlanta, Josh Smith played with another big man by the name of Al Horford, who's still holding it down in Atlanta very well, I might add. And in Houston, you got Big Dwight.
Big Dwight Howard.
This trade just works. Everything just, on paper, it fits the puzzle.
Do you see any problem among the team members?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't think there is a question because everybody knows their role. For a couple of years, and this is arguable, but this has been my philosophy on the Houston Rockets since Harden and Howard joined forces. Whose team was it? Because at times it looked like it was Dwight's team.
Absolutely.
And then at other times it looked like it was James's team. There is no doubt anymore who's the star player on this team. That is James Harden.
There are people that would argue that point.
But they have no argument.
Well, I understand that.
James Harden has missed 2 games this season. He leads the league in scoring. He is the leading MVP candidate. Dwight Howard's not anywhere near MVP talks. Nowhere near it.
Do you think there's going to be a problem if you interject new blood that's just as talented
Because they
in
all-
Dwight Howard's mind?
They all want the same goal.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Josh Smith is just as talented as Dwight Howard in a different way.
Oh, they all. But the point is, if they know their own roles and they play those
Exactly.
roles, and they don't step on each other's feet,
Exactly.
then
Smith is just as talented as Dwight Howard.
I see a ring in the future.
I see a ring about a year, 2 years from now.
Right.
If not this year.
Right.
Because
might be pushing it a little
I
bit for
don't
this
know
year.
how good. We'll talk about this. We'll talk about this when we talk about the division standings a little bit later. I don't know how long Golden State's winning angel is going to go over them. We'll talk about it.
Okay.
The next trade that happened is probably the bigger one. Rajon Rondo.
The next trade took me totally by surprise.
Rajon Rondo traded to the Dallas Mavericks in a 5-player deal. Yvonne Juno, how does this trade affect Dallas?
Wouldn't you want Rajon Rondo on your team?
You're asking me personally? Of course
Come on.
I've said all year long that he's the best point guard in the league. Over Chris Paul.
No, I won't go that far.
I know you won't. But again, the proof's in the pudding. And I'll explain when I get my chance.
Of course, Dallas should be ecstatic to have Rajon Rondo on their team. Of course. I'm very sorry for Boston for having lost him, but let's be perfectly honest, if they wanted to keep him, they should have fought harder.
They traded him.
Which makes you wonder why.
No, I know why. They want to rebuild. They want to rebuild.
So this season is shot for them.
I wouldn't say shot, but
Oh, they don't
They're
stand
not-
a snowball's chance
yet
in
in
hell.
the East, yes, they do.
Without Rajon Rondo.
Yes. Yeah, they're 3-1 without Rajon Rondo.
Okay?
They want to rebuild. To each his own. How does this trade affect Dallas? Well, again, let's be analytical. Because when I explain it, you start to get it. Okay?
Because you throw stats at me.
No, I throw analysis at you.
Well, yeah.
And you envision it in game.
Right.
Okay. Let's look at Dallas's lineup before Rondo. Devin Harris and Jameer Nelson would switch that starting spot at point guard. Jameer Nelson is now in Boston, so that makes Rondo the official starting point guard.
Which he
Okay.
should be.
Absolutely.
He shouldn't have to trade spots with anybody.
Monte Ellis at the 2 guard, which is more his natural position.
Yeah.
Okay? Monte Ellis is a decent playmaker, but he's a much better scorer than he is a playmaker. We've seen it all year long.
Yeah.
Okay? At the small forward spot, you've got Chandler Parsons. At the power forward, of course, it's Dirk Nowitzki.
Well, I don't want to talk about Chandler Parsons because I'm highly disappointed.
And not after last night, I'm not.
Okay.
We'll talk about it.
Okay.
And Tyson Chandler at the center spot.
Absolutely.
In order for Chandler Parsons to score the basketball, he scores one of 2 ways. A, putting the ball on the floor and driving to the hoop to get a layup.
Right.
Or B, catch and shoot.
Right.
Well, if you've got the best passer in the league running your team, you're going to get a lot of catch and shoot opportunities.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Look at Tyson Chandler. When he was in New Orleans, Chris Paul to Tyson Chandler.
Oh, yeah.
Alley-oops. Do
Oh,
you
yeah.
envision something happening here?
All day long.
Okay, and Chris Paul is a fantastic passer. But I think
And
you'll agree with me.
It was beautiful.
I think you'll agree with me. I know you don't give Rondo the edge of point guard over Chris Paul like I do. Do you give Rondo the passing
Yes.
edge. Okay.
Yes.
If Chris Paul and Tyson Chandler did that, do you envision?
What's possible between Rondo and Chandler? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Dirk. Dirk scores one way.
Yep.
Pick and pop. That uses the point guard, the power forward. For those of you who don't know what this is, power forward comes up top by the free throw line, sets a pick. They go around the pick and they throw it right back to Dirk for a 2-point or 3-point shot, depending on the area.
Where he is, right.
Dirk Nowitzki has mastered this for almost 20 years, but has never had a true point guard outside of Jason Kidd for 2 years, an aging Jason Kidd, but still Jason Kidd.
Yeah.
Now you've got a 28-year-old Rondo.
Right. It's
Are you kidding
It's
me?
going to make Dirk's job a lot less difficult.
Are you kidding me? The only issue I see, and you and I talked about this off the air when this happened, the only issue I see, in order to score the ball, Monte Ellis has to have the ball in his hands. Monte Ellis does not catch and shoot. Monte Ellis does not shoot three-pointers very often. He has to have the ball in his hands to score the basketball. He is that type of player. LeBron James does not catch and shoot. LeBron has to have the ball in his hands. Kobe, same thing. MJ, same thing. Monte Ellis. The problem with that is that Rondo's your point guard, not Monte Ellis.
Right.
So I do see, and we know with Rondo's personality,
Yeah.
I do see a little bit of knocking heads. Okay? Which leads to the second question. Does the addition of Rajon Rondo make Dallas a title favorite? Why or why not, Yvonne?
Rondo's going to have to get with the program. The addition of Rondo to the team is phenomenal. Unless he goes in with the attitude and he wants to play the me game instead of the team game. He has been known to do that.
At certain points.
Yeah, not consistently. I'm not saying that.
He does lead the league in assists. Let's keep that in mind.
Okay, I'm not saying that. But if he gets it in his mind not to share the ball and not to pass enough, he could hurt them more than help them.
I do agree, but let's not accuse Rondo of not passing the ball.
No. I'm saying we have seen that there have been times where he just turns around and shoots when it would have been more advantageous to pass it
I
on to
agree, but
somebody else.
mostly in times of need when nobody else could take over for
Well,
Boston.
okay. But that was with a different team. Let's see if he's still got that mindset with this team. Because this team can pass.
Does this make Dallas a title favorite? As much as I want to say yes, again, I can't.
Because, no.
The same reason.
Right. Division.
Dallas is 22-10
Yeah.
and is 5th in
Right.
the West. They don't even have home court. With a record of 22-10, they will have to go on the road to play Houston in a 7-game series.
That's not even half of your games. I know.
Crazy.
I know.
It does make them a big contender.
Well, that's how strong the division is. What are you going to do?
Now let me ask you. Who's the more dangerous team? Houston or Dallas? This is strictly off the record. I'm asking you. Who's the more dangerous team going forward? Going forward. Who? Okay. You're in the East. Okay? You're Toronto. Toronto's in the finals.
Yeah.
They're waiting on their opponent. Who do you want to play? Dallas or Houston? And why? This is off the record. This is not on paper.
That's a tough
Remember,
question.
it's a 7-game series.
That's a tough question.
Really think about it. Yeah, let me hear your thought process.
I could give you arguments on both sides.
Let's hear it.
No, I would not want to play Houston for some reasons, and I would not want to play Dallas.
Well, let's hear it.
Well,
They want to hear you.
the addition of Josh Smith to Houston, I'm anxious to see the next couple of games. If it works out the way I think it's going to work out, I would not want to play Houston. If they get it together and they mesh, I would not want to play Houston. If Rondo plays with the intent of going after that spot, and he gets it in his head.
If Rondo plays like Rondo.
No. If Rondo plays with the thought process in his mind that this is now his team,
Oh.
it's not going to happen. Not going to happen.
Okay, but if Rondo plays like Rondo.
That's going to be a hell of a team.
Who do you want to face? Who would you rather face in a 7-game series, Houston or Dallas?
I don't know. I don't know. I really don't. They're both going to be they're both going to be a threat. If everything meshes and gels just so, and they work together as a team, both of them, both teams, I think I'd probably be more scared of Dallas.
More scared of Dallas?
Mm-hmm.
Why? There's got to be, there's no one core reason for that answer?
Dirk and Rondo together, the same team.
I would, in one game, I'd rather play Dallas. In a
Okay.
7-game series, I'd rather play Houston. For one reason, I'm more scared of Dallas in a 7-game series.
Well, because of experience, if nothing else.
Thank you.
Yeah,
What do Rondo,
right.
Dirk,
Uh-huh.
and Tyson Chandler all have in common?
Experience.
Goes beyond that.
Been there, done that.
In other words,
A ring. Been there,
A
done that.
ring.
They know what it takes.
no one on Houston besides Jason Terry and Trevor Ariza
Has been there.
have a ring.
Right.
I am more scared of Dallas. That's
Right.
3 guys in their starting lineup
Right.
that have a ring.
Right. I hate to say it, a lot of this is going to fall on Rondo.
As it should. He's the point guard.
Yeah.
We're going to take a break. That's the end of part 1. We'll talk about
Me too.
their debuts and everything when we come back. Part 2 coming at you.